My dear friends, my dear friends,
My dear friends,
my dear friends.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
I am KR Gopinath. You can call me KRG. My dear esteemed viewers, welcome to another enlightening episode of KRG Vision. My real experience and real lessons. The purpose of this episode is not merely to share my unpleasant personal experience or the suffering of other passengers during the recent IndiGo crisis. No, it is also to offer my humble views backed by hard-earned life lessons and to share practical out-of-the-box solutions for the executives of IndiGo and Air India. Today, I speak not from books, not from rumors, but from direct experience and honest observation and decades of learning from scriptures, biographies, failures, and comebacks. My dear viewers, let me begin with fairness. IndiGo is not a small airline anymore. From a humble beginning way back in 2006, they now command 65% of Indian aviation. This success did not come overnight, is it not? It came because IndiGo focused on punctuality, operational discipline, reasonable fares, no unnecessary luxury, simple, reliable efficiency. In aviation, the biggest luxury is consistency, and IndiGo proved this for years. IndiGo followed a low-cost focus model. They removed non-essential services, cut luxuries, reduced operational cost, and made flying affordable to over 30 crore Indians. 30 crores Indians. They generated employment for nearly 2,000 aircraft operations and 5,000 pilots. Great! Personally, I strongly believe 1 rupee not spent is 1 rupee saved. I'll repeat, 1 rupee not spent is 1 rupee saved. IndiGo mastered this philosophy beautifully well. For this growth of IndiGo deserves everybody's admiration. I really admire IndiGo. Honestly, I'm telling you, I really admire IndiGo. My dear viewers, do you want to know the root of the current crisis? Remember, success brings responsibility also. When the government of India required all airlines to follow the rule FDTL, that means flight duty time limit, for safety of pilots and passengers, IndiGo may have underestimated the impact of that rule. They ignored the rule. Instead of focusing on compliance, the top management, it appears, must have focused on adding more and more aircraft, expanding fleet size, increasing dominance in the aviation market of our country. As a result, FDTL compliance lagged. Pilot fatigue, that means pilot tiredness, increased. Safety concerns rose. Cancellations became a common affair. My dear viewers, if you were a pilot, would you not feel exhausted after long and continuous flying? Fatigue, that is safety risk. Remember, safety risk is very dangerous for not only the pilots, but for all of us, all passengers. This is the truth. FDTL implementation deadlines. In 2024, the Indian government said it would start using new FDTL rules in June. These rules give pilots more rest time and reduce how much they have to work at night. The goal is to stop pilots from getting too tired. What's more, the crisis blew up as cancellations skyrocketed. On some days, over 1,000 flights were cancelled, and in aggregate, around 2,000 flights were grounded across the country, affecting travelers in massive numbers. The disruption triggered action from regulators. The Aviation Authority, DGCA, issued a show cause notice to IndiGo's top leadership, asking them to explain the confusion. As a temporary solution, DGCA relaxed some of the new duty time norms for IndiGo's A320 fleet, especially relaxations around night duties and night landings until February 2026, giving enough time to stabilize operations. The airline was also asked to submit a detailed roadmap to fix crew shortages and ensure compliance. Clearly, what began as a safety-driven reform ended up exposing structural weaknesses in fleet planning, manpower management, and crisis preparedness. And it was not just the FDTL fatigue alone. As per public disclosures, IndiGo described the crisis as the result of a compounding effect of multiple factors. That means new pilot trust and duty norms, winter season scheduling, technical glitches, congested airspace and airport delays, plus adverse weather. Under the new norms, instead of the earlier 36-hour weekly rest, pilots now must have 48 consecutive hours of rest per week. Night duty schedules have been tightened. The number of night landings a pilot can do has been drastically reduced from 6 to 2 per schedule. For an airline like IndiGo, which runs hundreds of overnight flights to maximize utilization, this kind of schedule restriction meant the operational burden exploded, and the company lacked the extra pilot strength to absorb this change. When the IndiGo CEO kept giving excuses, saying he was busy, it reflected a dangerous mindset. Constant excuses slowly develop into an arrogant attitude, where a person starts behaving like a dictator. But he should behave like a benevolent dictator. True leaders must never justify failures with excuses. Leadership should never be used to dominate or impose authority. If one must lead strongly, they should become a benevolent dictator, like the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. Firm when required, firm and fair. That's what a leader should be. But he should be compassionate, humble, and always driven by noble vision. Leaders such as John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln were masters of emotional engineering. The ability to connect deeply with people, inspire trust, and lead with empathy. Recently, I too faced a sudden IndiGo cancellation crisis. No prior notice, no clear explanation. Passengers confused, tired, helpless. In fact, I don't want to tell the airport, I saw in the airport elderly people struggling, mothers with children unattended, passengers missing medical appointments, zero empathy at the counters. My pain was not missing a flight. It was missing the dignity of the passengers. Technology can run aircrafts, but empathy runs an airline. Later, while some media tried to spin opportunistic narratives, the root problem got more complex. It was not just negligence. The airline itself admitted that pinpointing a single cause was not realistically possible due to the complexity and scale of operations.